Hi there, this is Melissa and I'm with Mindful Therapy Practice. I'm a therapist practicing now 15 or so plus years, and I focus on all things trauma, complex trauma, dissociation, and anxiety, OCD, panic. So today we're going to focus on, and this specific video is not plural inclusive. There's specific language that I want to have for my plural community, and hopefully a plural video is on its way, and so will a Spanish video. And just a reminder that this video and materials are just for psychoeducational purposes and not meant to replace your help, not meant to replace professional help like that of a therapist or psychiatrist or physician. And also, these videos are made on the fly, I'm responding to specific requests from the community about specific topics, and I usually start with a PDF. I make a PDF on a specific topic as a handout, and then the video is based on that handout. So for those of us that just don't have that time to read when we need the assistance, these videos are meant to hear the information if you're not able to read them as they were intended on the handout. Okay? All right. So let's get into it. So this handout is kind of like a step-by-step how to respond to anxiety with mindfulness. Step 1, identify your values. This is important because you can think of your values as a compass or a map. What life can throw curveballs and get us off track, and a compass, a map, can bring us back. Right, bring us back from being lost, being away from our goal, right? Our path, our intentional path. So just off the top, so here's a list of values, and again, there's going to be a PDF with all of this accessible. And go ahead and take a moment to identify your top 5 values. And you can always come back to these values whenever you're struggling, when you notice that there's a response that you have, a behavioral or emotional or psychological response that you have to a given stimuli, and it's not congruent with your values. You can readjust. Okay, you can readjust and then bring to mind your chosen values and base your additional behaviors, reactions, responses to be aligned with your values. So, second step, identify the goal that you are most eager to accomplish right now. For example, the goal could be, I want to be a better traveler. I want travel to be part of my life and what I can look forward to. Now, identify the negative beliefs that are blocking this goal from becoming reality, such as, I can't control my anxiety, I can't tolerate my anxiety, if I experience a panic attack on the airplane, I'm going to die. Now, the second part of that exercise is, what is a catastrophe message that your brain is giving you? Such as, if I fly in a plane, I will die. So the catastrophe message there is, I will die. Or the catastrophe message, and so let's say the belief is, I'm not in control, or I'm not in control of my anxiety. What's the worst case scenario if I'm not in control of my anxiety? And then notice what that worst case, I don't know why I'm using quotes, what that worst case scenario is. And what we're doing here is Socratic questioning. So it's a form of, it's questioning. It was used by Socrates to teach his students in the form of questioning, and then what, and then what, and then what. And in this case, to get to the core, what is a core catastrophic belief? Because that's what we want to aim for. If we know that, then after that, we're going to, and here's a list of negative beliefs just to give you some options. And then we're going to identify our desired positive belief. So typically the negative beliefs are there because they were there in response to experiences that we've had in the past. They're hardwired, right? We can't erase them. We can, however, identify and set new neural pathways in our brain. And let's take a moment to identify them. And they don't have to be totally positive, they could just be neutral or based on facts and evidence. Let's say, for example, I am weak. That's a negative belief. And the neutral, truthful, accurate a belief based on evidence is I am strong, I am resilient. The reality is, especially if you have complex trauma, or if you don't, if you haven't, the reality is that as humans, we have survived difficult things already. We are resilient. We have used our resources to overcome hardships, to overcome adversity. So that isn't an overly positive, sugar-coated belief. That is a factual belief. I can't tolerate a panic attack. A positive or neutral belief would be, I have everything I need. I can tolerate being uncomfortable. We're teaching our brain, we're teaching our brain to believe that I can tolerate being uncomfortable. Sometimes we don't have experience being intentional about tolerating discomfort. I'm going to die. A neutral or positive belief could be, I am alive in this moment. I have life. So mindful, neutral, positive beliefs are not based on the past. They're not based on the future. They're based on the present. The reality is that in this moment, I'm breathing. In this moment, I am alive. So your brain is telling you, I'm going to die, I'm going to die. That's future-oriented negative belief. But a neutral, positive, evidence-based, truthful, mindful in the now belief is, I have life. I am living. I'm alive in this moment. Let's see. I don't have control. The neutral positive belief could be, I have power over myself and my system. Even though it doesn't feel like I do, a feeling is not fact. Just because I feel like I'm 500 pounds doesn't make it true, right? Hopefully it is true that you have some autonomy over your body, your behavior. I'm not safe could be, I have all that I need, I am safe enough. Sometimes because of our histories, because of our experiences, it's hard to feel 100% safe, and maybe that is not the goal. Maybe the goal is to feel safe enough. This is the safest I've felt. This is safe enough for me right now with my circumstances. And that's okay. And when you think about beliefs, and the impact on your body. Let's say the belief, I am not safe. That sounds like a belief that is activating your nervous system to be on alarm, to be on emergency mode, emergency reaction mode, versus I have all that I need, I am safe enough. That's a belief that's likely to not activate your alarm system. That's a belief that's likely to keep you neutral and grounded. And that's what we want, right? For a lot of us, our nervous system easily is overactive, hyperactive to alarms that have been true in the past, possibly, but are not true now, based on our current resources, based on our current circumstances, based on our current wisdom and knowledge. Okay, cognitive restructuring is what we're doing. We are intentionally encoding new information into our brains. We cannot erase the beliefs that are there from the past, but we can encode new factual, truthful information. When you mindfully, intentionally, with kindness and non-criticism, non-criticism. Notice the old automatic negative beliefs in the back of your mind. You now have a few options. One is to continue to perpetuate and feed into the same old beliefs of alarm or to notice the negative beliefs, let them be, let them exist without you erasing them, resisting them. We are just distancing from them. Take a breath, let go, intentionally bring to mind the desired positive or neutral belief that you are training your mind to reroute to. So there's a video specifically on the difference between the brain and the mind. So I'm going to muffle this up. I'm not a neuroscientist, but to the best of my knowledge, I understand that the brain and the nervous system are an organ, right? There's like 70 plus thousand neural firings happening at once, which are our thoughts, chemical communications that are happening. And we can't control that. It's going to happen. But what we can have more intention of is our mind. Our mind is what we're conscious of at any given moment. And we can train the mind, which will then in turn also have an impact on your brain. Isn't that? It's interesting how that is. Okay, so for example, this being here is sitting down, and you don't have to sit in a meditative pose to be mindful. You can sit in, although there is science about specific posturing and the benefits, but that's beyond this video right now. This person is sitting calmly, and you can notice that there's a bunch of negative thoughts like, I'll always be like this, I'm not safe, I can't do it, what's wrong with me, I'm weak. So your brain's gonna set off all of these neural chemicals, right? And you're just letting them be. You're not latching onto them. They just exist. And we're not making them go away. We're noticing them. We're taking a breath. And and we're anchoring and coming back to choosing where we want to redirect our mind to, which is our neutral, positive belief. And we'll get into anchoring in just a minute. So just a review on neuroscience. Your body is doing nothing wrong. Your body is just responding to messages sent from your brain. These messages were accurate and helpful at some points in time. However, they may not be accurate now for your present resources, and therefore can benefit from updates from your present knowledge. Neuroception is a term coined by neuroscientist Stephen Porges, and it is used to describe how your nervous system automatically detects threat in your environment. This is done faster than you could form a thought, faster than you can blink an eye. Your nervous system is collaborating with your brain, likely using the old information given to it in the past. Even though your nervous system has identified a threat, this information may not be accurate in this moment. Again, we are likely older now, have new circumstances, new resources, new learning, and we are updating our hard drive. We are retraining our nervous system and our minds. All right, so just a review. We're not getting rid of anxiety, panic, or fear. We are consistently, consciously engaging in multiple times a day, on a daily basis. We're retraining our brains and nervous systems and bodies to respond to discomfort in a calm and confident way. And we want to also be mindful of expectations. So the expectation cannot be, I will never have a panic attack again, because we can't guarantee that. And the reality is that that's not true. The reality is that you will experience anxiety, fear, and panic again. It's part of being human. But when you do, your reactions will be more calm. Now on to mindful attitudes. So you may notice on this video, I tend to be an anxious person despite all my training. It's just part of my neural wiring, you know, and this is improved. This is better than it has been in my life. And you'll notice that I do some things such as, you know, bring my hands together, close my eyes. All of these things are give me balance. All of these things help me let go of whatever anxious messaging my brain is giving me or my body is giving me in this moment. The closing of the eyes, the connecting of my hands, the breathing, all of that balances me again. So as you're noticing me, this is me utilizing my mindfulness practices right now, doing this video with you. So, some mindful attitudes include radical acceptance. This might be a little redundant, but radical acceptance does not mean you want the panic or like the panic. Radical acceptance means acknowledging your current discomfort, uncomfortable experience, and the likelihood that you will in fact experience more discomfort in your life. For example, some of us might have the beliefs suicidal thoughts in the background. Just because we let them exist doesn't mean that we want to die. It doesn't mean that we want suicide or we're willing suicidal thoughts. It just means that we know how the brain works, that there's 70,000+ neural firings happening in our brain, and we're not fighting with our brain. We're letting our brain do what it does, but we are redirecting our mind on what to focus on. We're not attaching to those things. And so this is important to know, because a lot of my clients that have OCD, for example, like unwanted, repetitive, disturbing thoughts, pictures, videos, sensations, urges, that can be taboo and really disturbing. I hear them say often, if I let it be, it means I want that, or it means that I am this. But that's not the truth. We are not our thoughts, right? I have OCD, and I have graphic, really uncomfortable, disturbing thoughts and pictures happening all day, every day, unfortunately. But I'm not those things. You know, and coming back to your values is helpful, because that's who I am. I am my values. I've chosen those. And and the whole other video will be on OCD. But and on all mental health conditions are on a spectrum. So you might not have, meet full criteria for OCD. You might be somewhere on the spectrum. And again, there'll be a specific video on that. Radical acceptance means expecting the panic and anxiety and discomfort to exist whenever it is present, rather than being alarmed when it happens. Cognitive restructuring, which is what we're doing, it's a skill. It means to change the structure, the organization of the brain. Here you are providing a new way of responding and reacting that is not rooted in fear, and instead rooted in mindful practice. Cognitive diffusion involves creating space between ourselves and our thoughts and feelings so that they have less of a hold over us. We are watching our thoughts versus getting caught up in the content of the thought. So cognitive diffusion is the opposite of cognitive fusion. So a lot of, I've heard a lot of my clients say, because I'm thinking this horrific, violent thought, it means I am violent. So they are making their identity be connected with whatever belief, whatever thought is coming up. And that is cognitive fusion, that connection there. Cognitive diffusion is a way of seeing your thoughts and feelings as separate from you. Just because you have these thoughts or feelings doesn't mean that is you, that is your identity. They're just neural firings happening in your brain. Um, Cognitive diffusion practice is also a mindful observation practice. With mindfulness, we watch and observe with non judgment, with kindness and compassion. So the criticism could be happening in the background, but we're not latching onto it. We're just remaining neutral or positive. No one thought or stimuli is more important than another. We are just or observing, watching and observing, and letting go, just like we watch and observe birds flying in the sky or ripples in the pond. And the passing by of clouds. It's so interesting. Throughout the day, we're complex beings, and let's say we do great things in the day. We have like success in the day, whatever you deem that as, or we experience moments of competence. And some of us have, for our histories, we needed to we needed to respond this way. Our nervous system needed to respond this way in order for us to survive our circumstances. um, Pays no notice to all of those positive, great things about us, but we have this one or few negative beliefs, and that is important. So that's what I'm talking about. No one thing is more important than the other. The thought I'm itchy and scratchy has no more significance than I'm afraid. Thoughts are just thoughts, feelings are just feelings. So, again, just to recap mindfulness skills, we're watching our thoughts, we're watching our feelings, and we're letting go. Now, coming back to anchors. So, anchors is something that you come back to help you regain balance and calm. So, imagine that you're a tree with thick, deep roots, and life is all the storms and lightning and earthquakes happening. Your roots will keep you rooted and solid and balanced, right? And so anchors are things that we can come back to that will keep us balanced and grounded, and help us in getting off our track, off the path that we want to be in. And it's helpful when you choose anchors that you always have on your person, that you don't need any specific tools. Like, I don't have to carry this around. For me, this bead of blue and white crystals, I don't have to carry this around to feel safe or to feel good. That everything I need is present within me. So an anchor is all that you have. It's not another person or entity, and it's not a specific material thing. It could be your back, things that have no negative association, such as your back, your breath, your fingers, hands, toes, feet firmly on the ground, your clavicle, your closing of your eyes. Some of us might have negative associations with some of these things based on accidents and past experience. So just choose the things that don't have any negative associations. Luckily, I don't have any negative associations with my clavicle, my shoulders, or my back. Choose 3 things that are neutral or positive, such as your feet on the ground, that you can always come back to when you're needing to let go of whatever life is throwing at you, whatever uncomfortable stimuli. You're coming back and you're resetting your mind. You're bringing your mind's attention to this neutral thing. So that way you have, this is called nervous system regulation. We're regulating our nervous system. Imagine that there's an internal thermometer that for your intensity of emotion. 0 is calm and neutral. 10 is the most intense, uncomfortable, intolerable thing. You're at the emergency room. And you're needing extreme intervention. And our anchors are going to bring us back to 0, to calm, right? Or anything below a 5. So we're doing this throughout the day whenever we're noticing that our nervous system is overactivated, and firing these false alarms. Mindful attitudes continued. Allow. Yes, allow whatever thoughts, feelings, and body sensations that are happening to happen. Do not try to stop. Experiencing thoughts, feelings, and body sensations are part of being human. So whenever you notice thoughts like, oh no, oh shh, oh F, not again, I can't do it, I can't trust myself, ooh, all of these reactions, whether verbal or nonverbal, we want to be mindful of them and we want to not encourage them. So they're going to happen, right? They're hardwired, they're going to happen. And we're noticing them, and then we're choosing to have new reactions that are neutral, that are positive. Let's say an airplane right now has negative associations to you, and your immediate reaction is to squint your eyes and tighten your lip, your facial muscles, and tighten your shoulders. That might be the current reaction to this stimuli. Hopefully, with repetitive practice, the connection to the stimuli of a plane is neutral or positive, but it will require this practice of daily mindfulness. Radical acceptance. Again, radically accept that these are the thoughts that happen with panic and anxiety. These thoughts are not accurate. These thoughts are not the real you. And let go of resisting or stopping or praying away the panic and anxiety. Let it exist. Bring your attention to what is aligned with your values. Bring your attention to the small joys in life. Bring your attention to the anchors that you've identified. So about praying, there's nothing wrong with praying, but hopefully your spirituality is completely separate from your response to anxiety, and there'll be a separate video on that. Your response to anxiety, fear, and panic hopefully are all based on mindfulness. All right, so enough on that. Engage. Yes, engage to your present life. Engage to neutral or positive things about your body, your anchors, back, chin, toes, etc. Engage with neutral or positive things in the environment. Engage to positive mantras of yourself. Come back to engaging in the task that you have at hand or the person that you're engaging with. Come back to the present moment. It is okay to stop and disengage. Remember that we don't want to bulldoze or white knuckle ourselves through experiences. It is okay to take a pause, a breath, a step outside for a walk, or safely exit the freeway or pull over. Sometimes those options aren't available, and sometimes you might not want to engage in those options, and that's okay. The point here is that it doesn't have to be a terrible experience to rewire your mind, to rewire your brain and retrain your mind. The uncomfortable body sensations and emotions of panic will stop. They always do. Panic can be our momentary weather, and it is not our climate. How to self-soothe. My whole self. Let go of what ifs. Let go of focusing on my body's discomfort. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Long and slow exhales. Imagine the things in your life that bring you joy. Pets, significant others, nature, activities, spirituality. I can give myself a kind hug. And the message that you're sending to your brain is, I can self-soothe, I can tolerate discomfort, I have all that I need for wellness, and I am capable. Expect for your brain to keep telling you what ifs. What if thoughts just mean I'm uncomfortable, this feels intolerable, I'm uncomfortable right now, but it won't last forever. I feel overwhelmed right now, and that's okay. Radical acceptance thoughts. I accept my body and myself as I am right now. Whatever it is that my body is doing, I accept it. Okay, I guess time is up. So see you next time. Bye.